Hi, my name is Antonis and I'm an iconographer and a painter. Today I want to share with you some thoughts on drawing the full human figure in iconography, and these thoughts can also apply in naturalistic painting as well. So, from ancient times, many teachers try to give specific rules in the anatomy of the human figure, rules that have been useful for artists in painting and sculpture. But I have to be sincere and say that I never studied thoroughly these rules and never paid too much attention, mostly because we draw the human figure not up front, like, let's say, rigid, like the rigid statue of Kouros. The human body is painted and drawn sitting or in various athletic or not poses. So these rules haven't been very useful for me. But I know that many students in iconography ask for these rules, and they are interested in learning some of these rules. So here I will try to give you what I found from the master iconographers of the past, and more specifically about what Theophanes the Cretan had to say about this figure. He didn't write, of course, anything about that, but I studied his frescoes in the Stavronikita monastery in Mountain Athos, and I'll try to give you some thoughts on what Theophanes the Cretan does when he draws and paints the full figure. Now, the face of a saint that Theophanes draws, I believe, consists from the length of 4 noses. Of course, a head can have very fluffy hair, or to wear a crown or a hat or something like that. But I believe that Theophanes uses the length of 4 noses for the full head, plus, and then he will add a little bit of some length on the top of the hair or something like that. So when I'm talking about heads, I mean mostly the length of 4 noses. Then what I figured out by studying some of his figures is that overall he's using approximately 7.5 or 8 head lengths to define the full length of the figure. Sometimes he is drawing a body that consists from the length, by adding the length of 7 heads and something, sometimes more. This makes sense to me because not all bodies are the same, and we shouldn't rely heavily on drawing figures that are all the same in length. Some bodies are more tall, some bodies are less tall, etc. I hope that this all makes sense to you, especially with this heavy accent of me. But try to free. Hi, I'm Antonis, and I'm proud to present you my online course in iconography, Paint an Icon with me. This course will help you become a better iconographer, and it will help you be more confident when talking and presenting your artwork. It will make you understand in depth the studio practices of a professional iconographer like me, and you will get accustomed to what great iconography looks like. So learn in a simple and organized way everything you need about the materials, mediums, and techniques in order to make a beautiful icon. Paint with me the icon of Christ,
and learn how to paint better any icon you wish. I will see you at the studio.
A little bit yourselves about having specific rules on the human anatomy. Now, Theophanes, as I said, gives this rule that a full body should consist of 7.5, mainly 7.5, or not more than 8 heads. And this will give us a figure that is pretty slender, pretty slim and tall. This is a very nice, I believe, analogy. I have seen many iconographers who don't really don't really use this as a rule, let's say, or they rely only on their notion of the human body. And we see saints, especially in churches, where the body is too short or extremely tall. I would say if you have to choose between those two, I would say that it's better to make a saint or a human figure look taller than shorter. I've seen some short saints and where the total length is, say, 6 heads in total, where the result is not very nice. Whereas we've seen figures like in the work of El Greco, say, where the saint is extremely tall, very, very tall, unnaturally tall, but still the painting works and it's pretty nice. So try to make your saints in their normal length. If you want, you can also add a little bit more, I would say, as a general advice. Now, if you find this useful, I also have an online course in iconography. You can check it on my description below. This is 25, I believe, videos in total, where you can find everything. I teach everything I know and that can fit in 25 videos about iconography, and I'm pretty sure you will learn something useful out of this course. Anyway, back here to our drawing video. I would say that also that the best thing to do is to try and draw something from life, maybe a friend of yours or a sibling of yours, or someone who would be willing to pose for you. Try to draw a little bit the human body from nature and see what happens. You will learn many things, I believe, and especially it would be nice if you also added some confinements, some rules in this process, like having drawings that will last for, say, 5 minutes or 4 minutes, and see what you can draw in 4 minutes, or maybe even less, like 2 minutes. And then try to see in those 2 minutes the very basic human shapes, the very basic the limbs and the forms, the shapes that are created from the human figure. And don't worry if you do mistake or if this has no resemblance. Use your model as as a doll almost, and don't worry if there will be any resemblance. Just try to see the human figure, the human anatomy, and your eye will be accustomed, even subconsciously will accustomed to this naturalistic human figure, and then if you do some mistake on your icons or your painting, then you will be able to understand that something is off. The same way as when we read books, our eye is accustomed to the correct way of writing. I know I am missing a word here. It's an easy word as well. Anyway, it's not. I'm stuck to dictionary. Anyway, the eye is accustomed, and then when we go back to writing ourselves, we can correct ourselves. Same here. The more we draw from nature, the more we draw from life, the more we will be able to understand the human body, and even more specifically, some details like how the human hand, for example, works, or the human leg, which is something very hard in iconography. Anyway, I would like to thank you so much for being here. Also, I would like to thank my patrons for supporting the production of these videos in patreon.com/paintingthelight. Thank you so much, all of you. And be in the studio, be creative, enjoy this period of the year. It's so beautiful. And I will see you soon. I promise, with more new and exciting material. Be healthy and creative. Bye.